Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Falls from Iron. As you can see, I've got a late substitution that I've drafted in off the substitutes bench. Budgie from Green Street Elite is stepping into the void, the rather large void that Duke has left in his wake. But
have you noticed there's a shadow around me?
Yeah, but Budgie's going to pitch in and give his perspective on things. Duke's got other things that he's got to deal with tonight, so he sends his apologies, but life gets in the way sometimes. Guys, please, as I ask you always to do, please don't forget to like, comment on and share the stream to your social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and hit the bell icon for alerts on new content. And as always, guys, we thank you very much indeed for your support. Now, you might have noticed in the last however many streams that I've done, I normally do this little spiel about the Iron supporting food bank, and I hadn't done it in the last however long. That was completely by design. The Just Giving page, there was a little bit of an issue with it. That issue's now been sorted. So, Forge from Iron is proud to support Iron supporting food banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations from Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough, 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United Football Club, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, Expedient Security, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons. There you go. There you go. Just a little video piece that I've put together to jazz it up a little bit, give them a promo. So it makes sense, guys. As I say on the video piece there, you'll find the new Just Giving link in the description section, the video details on YouTube. So give generously, you know the drill. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So we are here to discuss the UEFA Europa Conference League Matchday 3 of 6, where we make a trip to Brussels, Lotto Park to be exact, to face the team that in 1976 European Cup Winners' Cup final we crossed swords with, Anderlecht. So we haven't really got much of a history with them other than that match, Budgie, and obviously it didn't go so well for us, as you might remember.
Well, vaguely, yeah. I was like 14 at the time, I think, and it was. I remember it was a real big deal around, a lot of my friends and stuff, because when I was at school, there were really only 3 teams, and West Ham was one of the major teams that people would support because of the areas of London that Crawley was populated with, the people from them areas. So the East End was one of the most popular. So a lot of my friends, we were all excited about the game. I don't recall actually watching it, if I'm honest, but I do remember the disappointment after the game. It was quite profound because, as I said, it wasn't just me that was feeling it. It was myself and probably a dozen or more of my school friends, and we all felt the same. We were all moping around the school hall after the game, subsequent after the game, and people would just, leave them alone. They'll get over it.
You remember more than I do, because I was about 6 months old at the time. So probably, I don't know, I'm guessing my old man would have probably sort of like sat me on his lap and said, "Here you go, boy, you've got to watch this." And obviously we got turned over, which has happened many times in the intervening 46 and a bit years. So there you go. But how is your knowledge on Belgian football in the year 2022?
Um, as far as the club football's concerned, I haven't got a great knowledge of it, Rob. I've got to be
Me
honest.
neither.
I've kind of followed individuals rather than clubs in a lot of the European
Yeah.
setups, because obviously it's the individuals that you hear about more often than the club they're playing for.
Hmm.
So
They've got obviously a good
I've kind
national
of,
team, haven't they?
of course, and their national team is, I think, ranked about. I think it's top 5 still.
Hmm.
I think we're 8th or 9th in the rankings right now. So they're ranked higher than us. They've got some excellent quality. As we've seen many times in the Premiership. I don't know a great deal about the club football. I do know a little about Anderlecht, obviously from their history more than their current status, as it were.
Yeah. Well, they're
Um,
obviously one of the big clubs in Belgian league football, but
yeah,
not really at the moment. I suppose it's a bit like Manchester United in some respects. Manchester United are a great name that are known around the world in English
yeah,
Premier League football, but they're not really right now. They're not the force that they once were, and it's kind of the same
that's
thing with
correct.
Anderlecht. I think of
Yeah, yeah,
Belgian football, and one of the first names that springs into my head is Anderlecht.
yeah,
Along with teams like KV Mechelen, Club Bruges, teams like that. They're the first
yeah,
names
yeah.
that pop into my head. As we speak, they're currently 10th in the Belgian league. Now, I know that
Okay.
obviously we're still early days as far as the sort of like the season's concerned, but
But
we're
they're having
10
a better
games in.
start to the season than we are, in fact.
Well, yeah, you could put it like that, but then again, they're also playing in a vastly inferior league. So it's sort of like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But their current
Yeah,
record is 10 matches played, 4 wins, 1 draw, 5 defeats in the league, with 16 goals scored and 11 conceded. They're well
wow.
off of the pace as far as the Belgian title is concerned. They're miles
Yeah,
off it.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, though, we all know that you can't always judge a team by their league performances, especially in European competition. I mean, last year, who would have given us the semi-final at the beginning of the competition of the Europa? Nobody really, like I'm talking about, general fans around Europe. They would not have tagged us to be in the semi-final and,
No.
being very close to getting into the final. But, uh, you know, that's what I'm saying with Anderlecht. Even though they're not doing great, they haven't done great for the last X amount of years, we can't go in there with any complacency at
Oh,
all.
no.
And we're going into their arena,
Yep.
they're at home, they're going to have home advantage with the support and everything else. Yes, we're going to have a good number of supporters out there. I know personally a couple that have gone, which is
Hmm.
lovely. But I think that they'll have, as I said, home advantage, etc., etc., and also they'll also possibly have a little bit of, well, we're doing better in our league than they are in their league, regardless of the level of competition. Each team, like Anderlecht, are supposed to step up to the level of competition that they're in, as we are. So, the fact that the Premier League is harder than the Belgian league is, that is a fact. But, the teams are of a standard befitting that league. So therefore, they are in a better position at the start of their season than we are. But don't ever underestimate the underdog, you
Yeah.
know. And
Oh,
we always seem to perform better when we are the underdog as well, Rob.
fair. Let's just go through the officials before I show you the teams that I suspect might be kicked out.
Yeah,
And there's a little bit of news. If anyone's not heard, there's a little bit of news that's sort of gone out there in the public domain. But we'll get into that in due course. The referee is all the officials are from Serbia. The referee is Novak Simovic. His assistants are Nikola Djorovic, Milos and Milos Simovic. The fourth official is Milan Matic. You'll notice there is no VAR in the UEFA Europa Conference League. I'm not even too sure. I don't think they've even got GDS, the goal line technology. I'm not entirely sure,
no.
but
No,
they
I'm
definitely
not
haven't got
sure about that
VAR.
either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think they have. But anyway,
Yeah.
I am now going to get up the teams that let me just get rid of that banner at the bottom. It always just sort of blocks out the last little bit of the goalkeeper. So I'll go full
Yeah.
screen with it just real quick. So this is my interpretation of the 11 that David Moyes is going to put out. Now, I think it's fairly safe to say that Areola will be the goalkeeper, Budgie.
Yeah.
I suspect he will stick with the tried and tested 4-2-3-1. Whether you think that he should or shouldn't is a different kettle of fish. But I think that Kufal will come back in as the right fullback and Emerson Palmieri will come in as the left fullback. The centre-back partnership, there's a couple of different combinations you could go with here, but I think that Ogbonna needs some minutes under his belt. And Craig Dawson, I mean, he's coming back to full fitness. He needs a little bit of more minutes under his belt to regain a little bit of sharpness. So, you know,
and
I don't
that'll
think it would
also
be...
give the fan base a little confidence as well with those two guys in the middle. You know?
So I suspect that it will be Dawson and Ogbonna as the centre-back pairing. So that's your back four and goalkeeper taken care of. Now, we move a little bit further forwards. Now, this is where I was like, well, is it going to be Declan Rice and Souček? Is it going to be Flynn Downs and Rice? Is it going to be Downs and... Do you know what I mean? And also Connor Coventry has to come into the equation. But I've put my head on the chopping block and I have gone, the captain is going to play alongside Flynn Downs. That's what I suspect. Now, a little bit further forward is where it becomes a little bit even more tricky to sort of work out that offensive midfield three. I think the striker's fairly cut and dried. It's going to be Michail Antonio. But it's like, right, is Bowen going to play? Is Paqueta going to play? Is, you know, on and on. I've gone Ben Rama left, Fornals on the right, and Lanzini occupying the 10 position. What about you, Budgie? What do you think Moyes is going to go with?
I really like the look of that team, I have to say, Rob. That's quite an attractive looking team.
Why, thank you.
I'm not so sure that he would play Fornals on the right. I think he and Ben Rama, should it be that lineup, I think it may be that he and Ben Rama may switch sides. Because he likes playing Fornals on the left.
Yep.
And he has used Ben Rama on the right on occasion before. So I suspect that maybe, I mean, look, don't get me wrong, that looks great as it is, but I suspect that maybe David Moyes will like to use Fornals on the left. He likes that inverted right foot of his, you know. He's capable of taking it to the corner and basically putting it into the D. So, or on the penalty spot even. So, yeah, I think, possibly Lanzini as the 10. And for me, there's no reason why not. Until we picked up Paqueta, for me, Lanzini was the best 10 in the squad anyway. So I would like to see him utilised there a lot more often, if I'm honest with you, Rob.
Fair enough.
You know, well, but yeah. I quite like that, and I agree with it. Actually, I think that's probably about as close as we're going to get to it.
Fair. So obviously, one other thing you obviously have to factor in is that we have obviously another game in a couple of days, in a London derby at London Stadium against Fulham. I know people would turn around and go, "It's only Fulham," but like I say, Fulham have actually been pretty decent at the start of this season, and I don't think that's a gimme. So it's one of those things you're going to need to balance it, because obviously we want to try and progress in the Conference League, and obviously try and win the group, because then if you win the group, you go straight into the last 16, and you don't have to negotiate a team that's dropping down from the Europa League, who are going to be usually pretty strong in a lot of the cases. But I think that if we can go there tomorrow, if we could get a point, I actually take that as a positive result. I really would, because it's then the following Thursday we've got Anderlecht back at London Stadium. Now, I think that really home advantage, we should have too much for them. Let's be brutally honest. Let's be
We
completely
should.
real.
We should. I mean,
No,
we've got a massive stadium with 60 odd thousand people. It's intimidating. It's daunting for people, for other teams,
yeah,
especially if you're not used to that kind of atmosphere. I mean, the likes of City and Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea, they're used to that big atmosphere.
yeah.
Anderlecht have been lacking it recently, I would suspect, because other than their hardcore, diehard fans, I would imagine they've had a shortage on their gates recently because they haven't done so well, have they? You
Well, I
know.
think their stadium is only about a 25,000, so they're not
Oh
used to
right.
playing in front of 62,000 mad
No, no,
screaming
no.
cockneys. So it could be
Yeah.
a shock to a few of them. But as you might notice, when we now go to my predicted Anderlecht team, there's actually a couple of names there that may be familiar to people. Notably Wesley Hoot, Jan Vertonghen, and Fabio Silva, all players who
Fine.
in
Yeah.
recent seasons have actually played in the Premier League. So these are
Yes,
players that are going
indeed.
to be very, very used to Premier League pace. They're going to be very used to Premier League players.
Yeah.
The rest of them maybe not so much, but anyway. So
Yeah.
this is my
I
11. So
think
the captain.
Vertonghen
Hang on a sec,
may
bud.
want to get
Hang
the
on,
whole
Budge.
team up for
Hang
it.
on, Budge. Can I just
Sorry.
get through the 11, please?
Yeah, go on.
Thanks.
Sorry.
So the 11 will be Henrik van Kronbroek will be the captain. He will be between the sticks. It will be a back three of Vertonghen left, De Bast right, and Hoot through the middle. You've then got a midfield five of Mazzù on the left, Murillo on the right, and the midfield three at the centre will be Kana, Arnstad, and Diawara. And up top will be Refalov and Fabio Silva. So as I say, Budge, there's a few people there that have got experience of coming across Premier League
Yeah.
teams, so they won't be intimidated by us at all.
No, no. As I was saying, I think Vertonghen may want to get the whole team up for it because it's us. And he played for Tottenham, of course. And Diawara, I'm sure I've seen that name before. Where have I seen that name? I'm fairly sure I've seen that associated with English football. Maybe not in the Premiership. Might have been.
You're not thinking of old Cabba Diawara, are you?
Oh, maybe, yeah,
No. Yeah, I
maybe,
mean,
yeah,
this is a guy.
yeah.
His name's Amadou Diawara.
Right.
He's never played in the Premier League, although he's played for Bologna, Napoli, and Roma in past years.
Okay. So he's got a fair amount of experience with some decent sides.
Yeah.
Anderlecht have never ever been a pushover by any stretch, but they are having a struggle at the moment. We've been having a struggle recently, so let's not underestimate them. Let's go out there with everything we've got and just try and get in amongst them. I think with that 5-man midfield, that might it's a similar setup to what we will be using anyway, other than the fact that they've got 2 men up front.
Yeah. Could be
Suspected.
quite interesting for our backline to.
It could be very interesting.
Yeah, it could be interesting for our backline because there's not many teams that they come across in the Premier League that play a strike partnership, whereas it's very likely that Anderlecht will do precisely that.
Yeah.
So
I just hope our boys, contain it. Well, and if as you suspect that we might start Ogbonna and Dawson, they are probably out of all of our centre backs, they are probably best equipped to deal with a 2-man strike partnership because they're more, they're slightly older and they probably played against a strike partnership before, haven't they? You would think,
absolutely.
so they probably would have a better advantage than the younger lads, let's say, because they may have just had that kind of experience. So, yeah. What are we looking at here, Rob?
This is the respective form. So Anderlecht's Europa Conference League form is 5 wins and a draw. but their form in all competitions is a little bit more patchy. It's draw, win, loss, draw, win, loss. So
Right.
whereas our form in the Conference League, it's been all 4 matches we've won so far, and our form in all competition has been draw, loss, win, win, loss, win. So on both fronts, you look at that, and we're the team that marginally, but on both Europa Conference League and in all competitions, we're the team in form. But they actually lost their game at the weekend. They were at the home team and they played Charleroi and lost 1-0.
Right. Okay, and we came away with a 2-0 win. So, our tail should be up, hopefully. And what's Tommy's predicted 11 now? Oh, that looks nice.
Yeah, Areola. He reckons Johnson at right back, which is always possible. Always possible.
Yeah.
He's obviously back training, so he's a
got
young, fit lad.
Paqueta and Bowen in there as well.
Yes, he has. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't suspect Antonio. I suspect Antonio will definitely be starting, but
Yeah, it looks that way.
Not entirely sure. We'll see Fornals, Paqueta, and Bowen. Maybe one of those 3. But listen, David Moyes knows what he's going to do, so we'll see. This is all just a little bit of fun, and it's a little bit of deductive reasoning and trying to put the pieces of jigsaw together. And a lot of the time, we're wrong. Very few of us get all 11 right. So it's a bit of a giggle. So
it's a bonus if we get to more than 2 or 3 right, isn't it? Really, generally. Unless,
I have heard this Kerry. I got a bit sorry. I called her by her real name. She'll swear at me now. Happy. About fans getting arrested in Anderlecht without proof of tickets. Seems a little bit extreme, doesn't it, Budge?
Oh, that seems very extreme. Actually, she did mention that in one of the groups earlier.
She did.
And I have to be honest with you, I should have looked into it because it does intrigue me as to their reasoning for the threat of arrest.
Yes. Crazy.
I mean, it's all very well saying that, people without tickets will be escorted back to the local station or to the airport or to a cab rank or whatever. But to actually arrest them, that's very...
very draconian, isn't it?
Draconian, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah, it just seems a little bit extreme. I mean, having a wander around sort of downtown Brussels and, excuse me, monsieur, it is time to touch your toes. Oh, yeah, great. Thanks for that.
Right.
It's like, well, there you go. Anyway, now, little bit of news that's broken in the last, I don't know, 2-3 hours. And I'm going to see if I can share this with you guys. Just bear with while I, through the wonder of technology. Hang on, where is it? Bear with. Hang on. No.
The wonder of technology and the handicap of age.
Yeah, tell me about it. Right. Okay. I think. No, I can't. Oh, hang on. No, I can. Yeah, hold on. There it is. Right. Okay. So some of you may be aware of this, some of you may not, but I'll go full screen with that as well. That there next to Mr. Declan Rice is a guy he's made a couple of under 21 appearances this season. His name is Ollie Scarles. He's 16 years of age. And he has travelled with the first team, if you please, for this match. Now, he also was in the starting lineup. We played in a match at MK Dons in the Papa John's Trophy, and he actually played in midfield in that game. So on the back of that, he's been picked to jump on a plane with the first team squad and get a little bit of first team experience. He might not step foot on the pitch. He might just go there, soak it all up, come back and not actually set foot on the pitch. But what an experience for that young man.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, to have this picture plastered all over many forms of social media, that's obviously got to make him feel good as well, hasn't it? So, even if it's just a feel-good exercise, I bet the guy feels 10 foot tall now,
And not just that, but you look at that photograph and he's sitting on the plane next to the club captain. A guy who himself a couple of years ago was making the break, exactly the same journey that he is possibly now making, and making that little breakthrough into the first team squad. Maybe not the first team proper, but the first team squad. He's there. Just looking at that comment, there's no need for that, Sharky. I hope he doesn't. I really hope he doesn't. So, hopefully he's this is a zippy free zone tonight. I just can't be dealing with it. I've got to be honest with you. But now
we've got Jordan Bungle on the door anyway.
Oh, please don't. No. Oh God, those pair of idiots. But now Duke sent us something. As I say, Duke very sadly can't make it tonight, but he sent me this, and he did give me permission to share this with the class. So I'm not doing anything behind anyone's back or without anyone's express permission. Now, what I'm about to show you guys, comes from Duke's brother. Danny is actually a football coach, and well, as you'll see from this, I'll tell you what, let me just go. Hang on. I'll go full screen with that. That is a message that Danny, who's Duke's brother, sent out on his WhatsApp. And as it says there, it's the photograph that you've just seen on the Rising Hammers Twitter feed. And he's put there, Ollie Scholes has travelled with the squad for tomorrow. I just want to let you know he was on every ball mastery video I did during lockdown. So if he does a double step over, 2 Choch Cruyff turn and a Ronaldo chop, then loses the ball and they score, I want that to be my legacy. Well, there you go, Danny. It's there in black and white.
Yes, and it's out there on YouTube for the rest of your life.
Yeah. You can't escape it now, Danny. You can't escape it.
Mate.
I've put it out there. If you want to blame someone, blame your big brother.
Yeah, that's it, mate.
But
Brilliant.
no, I mean he's going to be absolutely cock a hoop. Young Ollie Scholes. He's like I say, 16 years of age. He's made. Like I say, he's playing for the 21s at 16 years of age. So he's got to be very highly thought of within the squad.
Of course. And I mean, this could be another story like that of Rooney or Joey Cole or something. This could quite easily become a very, very big success story.
I hope so.
Let's hope so, because with that kind of talent that he has got, and I have seen 1 or 2 clips of him. When I watch the youth games on YouTube and stuff, I've seen 1 or 2 reels of him, and he does look reasonably good. I wish I'd done more research on him now, because I'd have a lot more to say about him. But from what I've seen, long may his progress.
Well, just looking here for anyone that's not sure who this kid is. As I say, he's 16 years of age. His position is a defensive mid by trade. He's England under 17 cap. He's got 4 of those. And this season in the under 18s Premier League, he's got 3 appearances and 3 assists. The Papa John's Trophy, as I say, he played a match last night, 1 appearance. And in Premier League 2, he's made 2 appearances. So he's been involved in a good number of competitions. He's a left footer, which is obviously something that's a bit of a premium amongst footballers in general, to be honest with you. He can also be played as a centre back. So again, the guy that he was just sitting with on the plane there, Declan Rice, well, he's a guy that came through as a centre-back and eventually transitioned into midfield, as I say. And Ollie Scholes is also defensive midfield and can play at centre-back. So there's a few similarities there.
Yeah. I mean, I was listening to Talk Sport earlier, and I'm fairly sure it was Darren Bent who said that that in passing they spoke about the West Ham Anderlecht game coming up, and whoever it was that was with Darren Bent asked him what he thought of West Ham at the moment, and he said, look, you can't take away the 2 seasons they've just had. They've had an iffy start to the season. I'm using my own phraseology, but they've had an iffy start. But hold tight, because West Ham certainly have it in the bag. No, in the tank. Sorry. They've got the ability to pull out of this lull that they're in. And he referenced how good he thought Skamaka and Paqueta were. And then he mentioned Declan Rice. And in the same sentence, he mentioned Bobby Moore. And a lot of people were, kind of surprised by that. And Darren Bent said, look, I'm not saying that he's the same player as him. What I'm saying is he has the potential to be as great a player in the game as Bobby Moore was in his day. He said, and I see that kind of potential in Declan Rice. And Darren Bent's usually quite a reserved kind of person when it comes to opinions like that. And for him to say something that clear cut was, I thought was, quite nice, because, with, Ollie sitting next to him on the plane and having the opportunity to train with him, run out onto the pitch with him tomorrow night, and so on and so forth. Okay, even if he doesn't play a minute of football, he'll still be going out there with the team, and he'll be a part of the whole setup. And, David Moyes will no doubt have his arm around his shoulder many times during the course of their way, of the journey and stuff. So, this is all fantastic experience for him, confidence building experience. That's what I think this is about. I think this is about him building his confidence, because I think David Moyes has actually, sort of like labelled him and sort of like said that, I want to see this boy coming through. I think David Moyes may just have had a look at him and said, let's bring him on, let him have a couple of, games in the 23s, etc., etc. It might not have been David Moyes, it may have been one of his team, but this is great for him, great for the academy too.
And hopefully it might act as a little bit of an incentive to other players. I mean, I don't know if you're aware, Budge, but earlier in the week, 17-year-old Regan Clayton was training with the first team. Now, he hasn't travelled with the squad, but obviously the fact that he was in and around the first team training in the run up to a European fixture, despite the fact he didn't get on the plane. Hopefully the fact that there's a 16-year-old as well that has got on the plane. So you've got all the other players, like, for example, George Earthy and other players like that are in the 16s, in the 18s, in the 21s, whatever. And they'll be hopefully be looking at this and going, okay, right, well,
if he can do it, surely I can.
Exactly. So it acts as a little bit of hopefully, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it will act as a little bit of a catalyst for those other players that are in and around this kid to sort of up their game.
That's what I meant when I said it would be good for the academy as well, because
absolutely,
with the kind of academy that Tony Carr set up, basically, he created that, everyone's equal. Everybody's got to help everybody to achieve. Nobody's going to achieve without that man next to them, etc., etc. So for one of the young lads to be having this opportunity to come away, now all the coaches and everything associated with the academy at whatever age group are going to be going, that could be you next week. That could be you next, in the next away game abroad. That could be you at against Man City, at the end of the season or whatever. All of that is just going to be absolute fire for the academy.
Absolutely. So, right. So, Budgie, we are going to now, and you guys in the live chat, please also get involved with this. We're next going to go to... Head on the chopping block time, Budge. Score prediction. How's this game going to pan out?
Okie dokie. So I think we're going to have quite a tight first half, actually. We're going to be feeling them out. They're going to be feeling us out. So I don't predict anything in the first half. I think it'll be 0-0 at half time. But I think it'll be a narrow victory. I think 1-0, maybe 2-1 to us at the end of the game. Come back home with a 1-goal advantage. That would suit me. That would actually be perfect for me. But I don't think it's going to be a lot of action, as far as picking the ball up out of the net. I don't think there's going to be a lot of goal action in the first half.
I'm hoping that if the two teams that I've put out are the teams that I'm just looking at, and I'm not. Listen, he was a fantastic player when he was at Tottenham. I know he was Tottenham, but Jan Vertonghen, when he was a Tottenham player, I thought he was a quality player, but he's 35, 36 now.
Yeah.
And I know Michail Antonio's no spring chicken himself, but if I was Michail Antonio, I'd be thinking, oh, get me up against him, please, please, please.
Yeah.
Because I think he will tear him a new one. God,
he'll run up and down his hamstrings, mate. He's going to run circles around him. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm quite confident actually. And let's be honest, if we win the game tomorrow, that puts us in good stead to win this group, because I think if we can beat them in the away match, then the home match, you would think. I know football doesn't necessarily work like that, but I think if we can go there, get a real confidence booster by getting the 3 points at their own stomping ground, bring them back the following week, I'd be rubbing my hands, mate. And I agree with what Lee and who else? Sharky said 3-1. We've had a 3-1 from Lee as well. That's the score that I'm going 3-1. I think it will be convincing. Don't think we'll keep a clean sheet, but I think that possibly their goal is going to come late in the game when it really doesn't matter.
Hammerett asked a question where the goals are going to come from, Rob.
Hang on a minute. This one here. I don't really care. I mean, if Areola got a hat trick, I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less. Three long and hopeful punts that the wind catches and they go sailing past the goalkeeper.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if he plays that Fornals isn't amongst the goals.
I know she'll be hoping for a Lanzini goal somewhere along the line, because she loves him.
Yeah,
she loves him.
Yes, of course.
But
and a mild strain on his thighs so that she can apply some cream.
Yeah, she'd like to give him a little bit of a rub down post match, I'm sure. But he'll be in Belgium and she'll be somewhere else. That's all I'm saying. So, but I think a 3-1 win. I think we'll be good value for it as well. I think that we will have had a massive shot in the arm, not literally like certain boxers, but I'm saying no more than that. I think that result at the weekend against Wolves, I think that will be a massive boost to the confidence, the morale around the team, and I think that they will go into the game tomorrow in very, very fine heart. And I love that, Tommy. I can see it now. Just like nice? Leon away, he rises like a salmon and bang, gets it in.
Yeah, right on the front post and gets it in at an impossible angle with about that much gap between the post and the goalkeeper, and he gets it in there. How beautiful. Yeah. So Fornals, Lanzini, and Dawson to score. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Listen, I'll say I don't mind if Areola pitches in with a hat trick. I really don't. If he does a sort of mazy run like Adrian did in Testimonial. Do you remember that? Yeah. Listen, if he did that, like I say, where the goals come from, I'm not overly concerned. I'm really not. Like I say, I'd love to see Dawson on the score sheet just to really sort of get his confidence levels up. He's obviously had his injury that kept him out at the beginning of the season. I thought he was magnificent against Wolves.
He's had a little bit of attrition with his travelling and stuff as well. Hasn't he? So,
I mean,
I think he deserves himself a little bag.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, Budge, before we knock it on the head, is there any final thoughts that you want to mention before we disappear?
Not really. I mean, is there any more news on the Cornet injury? Is he going to be available
Yeah.
tonight?
I don't know. I've seen that there's been reports that he's had. I believe he's had a scan. To be honest, I haven't really read too much more than that.
Right.
I don't
Okay.
know if we're looking at something fairly
Yeah.
sort of minor and maybe a week or two out, or whether it's maybe the end of his season. I've got no. I don't know anywhere in between, and so I don't know if anyone
I
in
mean, I've
the live
heard a
chat
couple of
knows.
places that he'll be available for Sunday. So, you know,
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, if that's accurate.
Talk Sport was one of them, however accurate you want to aim them. And I think the other one was Hammer's Chat, said that it was a possibility that he might be available for Sunday.
Well, we'll
There was
wait and
no
see.
definite. Yeah.
Wait and see.
Yeah. No, other than that, mate, no, I just hope that any of the injured players are back as soon as possible. Other than that, no, I've got nothing else to add.
No worries. Well, before we knock it on the head, just to remind any of you stragglers that have turned up, there's 24 of you watching. Just to remind any of you that weren't here at the beginning of what we're lending our support to. Forge from Iron is proud to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations from Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough, 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United Football Club, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, Expedient Security, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons. So there you go. You know it makes sense, guys. Help the local community out. Before we knock it on the head, just to reference, you put a question in there, Happy. You asking me what channel it is on. I have got it here on very good authority. It's on BT Sport. The coverage begins at 5:15 and the kickoff is at 5:45. So there you go.
Excellent.
Don't say I don't try and help. But
and I shall be driving at that point, so I shall have to listen rather than watch.
I'm amused. I'm tickled. The little back and forth between James and Patrick and anybody else that's joining in. We're up to, apart from straight roads, peace, underground heating, aqueducts, and education. What have the Romans ever done for us? Paolo Di Canio?
Scamacca.
Hang on. Tommy's come in with law and order.
Law and order.
And Patrick has responded in a rather Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah.
There you go. But anyway, right. Oh, hang on. Sanitation as well. Oh, yeah. God. Anything else? Anything
Isn't
else,
that
you guys?
Hospital? Oh no, that's just a sanitarium. Sorry.
Fair. Right. Anyway, oh, hang on. Might have to go to a little local. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, please don't forget to like, comment on, and share the stream to your social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and hit the bell icon for alerts on new content. And as always, we thank you very much indeed for your support in this matter. Budgie, what are we, my friend?
We are inflating daily.
Come on, you That'll Irons. Do me. Come on, you Irons. Good luck, guys.